Hello everybody, welcome back to Drinks in a Movie. This is Chris Hamker. Today we'll be talking about The Revenant, directed by Alejandro Iñárritu. I wanted to get that right. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, and a grizzly bear. And today we'll be making a drink called the Grizzly Bear. No shit, there's actually a drink called the Grizzly Bear. Now the drink, the Grizzly Bear, consists of 2.5 parts milk, 1 part Kahlua, 1 part Jagermeister, and 1 part Amaretto. I know, sounds amazing. Just remember everybody, I do this so you don't have to. So we're going to try to start here with the milk. So 1, 2, 1.5 parts milk, 1 part Kahlua, 1 part Jaeger, and 1 part Amaretto. Nope, there we go. And then stirred. Ooh, hey. That's right. Don't let this one get away from you. Then a few ice cubes, just to keep it cold. Kind of looks like chocolate milk. We'll see how it is. Alright everybody, here's to the Grizzly Bear. Don't ask me why it's called the Grizzly Bear, because I have no idea. But it is, and that's what it is. So let's see how this tastes. It's actually pretty good. I'm stunned. You still get the little licorice flavor, but with the Kahlua and Amaretto and milk, it's sort of a nice, refreshing drink. So, cheers, everybody. Before we get to talk about this beast of a movie, The Revenant. So, The Revenant is directed by Alejandro Iñárritu, and it's a story about essentially one man's will to live. It's this frontier story that is so violent and visceral and brutal. I commend everybody involved. Leonardo DiCaprio just went through some shit to make this movie. Alejandro Iñárritu, if you remember, directed Birdman last year, one of my favorite movies last year, and one of the things that he did in that movie was that he almost made the movie look as if it was done all in one continuous take, which is following the actors around, following the action around from thing to thing to thing, from moment to moment. And he did it a bit in this, and which is something I really like. I think he's one of the more interesting directors to watch nowadays because of this. There's this whole first scene where the Native Americans attack this trapper camp, where there some soldiers, some scouts, some hunters, and it's just this intense, violent scene that reminded me a lot of like Saving Private Ryan's D-Day scene where they stormed the beach. The way he did his directing, there was, you would follow a bit of action here, and you see something about to happen, and something happens over here, so he moves the camera, and then in one take comes back, and whatever was happening kind of is finishing up, and oh man, I mean, there's just so much going on, and some of these shots, I don't know how they did. I mean, you had to figure out, the blocking where the actors are supposed to be, where the special effects are supposed to happen. If one thing goes wrong, you got to start all the way back at the beginning, and that would be a nightmare to try to do. So this kind of filmmaking is just amazing to me. The other thing he did, and he insisted on filming the entire thing in natural light, and what that means is that all you get is the sun, the moonlight, or fire, or some sort of campfire to create your light. I mean, he didn't put any lights up. There wasn't any kind of artificial light that he used during the film making this movie, and it made you feel like you were out in this wilderness. Really, really feel it. And so, that brings me to my next point, is that the environment was almost a character. It was almost something you could feel. I got cold watching this movie. I mean, the places they went, it just felt cold and miserable and painful. Okay, so the next thing I have to talk about is Leonardo DiCaprio. He is pretty amazing in this movie. I've always liked him. I've always felt that he got a bad rap from, being kind of this pretty boy kind of actor from Titanic, and then he's put forth, though, great performance after great performance after great performance, and hasn't won an Oscar, and it's one of those things where, is he going to win this time? I hope so. I think he's really good. A lot of his performance does come through in grunts and a lot of drooling, but it's still really good. I don't want to make fun. I really don't want to make fun. It's still very good. He puts everything he has in this movie, and he was put through such, I don't want to say torture, because he did volunteer for this, but I mean, he just looks so cold. Plus, he let a bear attack him. I mean, who does that? I mean, this bear really beat the shit out of him. I mean, Jesus. And he, for the love of God, tauntauned himself into a horse. Now, I gotta say, I think they bought some poor rancher's, dead horse, like, some rancher that they knew while filming. They're like, "Oh, your horse died. I'm so sorry. Can we buy him? Because we want Leonardo DiCaprio to cut him open and crawl into it because a blizzard's coming." That is how real it was. It used this tiny little knife. He cut this horse open, gutted it, and then crawled in naked. That happened in the movie, and it just felt so real. I mean, just so real. And he's just, he's all over this movie. And he put himself completely at the mercy of the elements and gave himself up for this role. And I really commend him for that. I'm really impressed by it. Okay, so now I want to talk about the supporting cast. You got Tom Hardy back, kind of grumbling his way through another role. I also like Tom Hardy quite a bit, but he was, "I'm going to give him a proper burial when the time comes." It was a bit like that. And, he played the character spot on, but it was very, like, grumbly and, talking through his teeth. To me, the standout performance is Donald Gleason. I have no idea how to say his name. It's spelled really weird. Donald Gleason. He played General Hux in Star Wars, because I reference that because everybody apparently has seen that. And he's one of these up-and-comers that I think people are going to have to pay attention to. He's been different in every movie I've seen him in. He was in that movie About Time, and then Star Wars, and About Time is just this goofy time travel romantic comedy. And he was also in Black Mirror, where he plays an android, and then he was the General Hux in Star Wars, and now he's in this, playing a general, and he's really good. I mean, he's somebody to look out for. It's not a perfect movie. It does have its problems. And one of the things that I had a problem with were motivations. Motivations of the characters, and that's a really big thing for me. It should be a really big thing for everybody. Motivations are huge, especially in storytelling. Motivations are huge in crimes and cops. They need the motives. This one's motivations weren't totally clear. It's a very simple story, and I'm fine with simple stories. It's a will to live and revenge movie. I mean, that's what it is. It's very simple. Mad Max Fury Road, simple story, but you understood the motivations of the characters. This one, you didn't. It was just kind of told to you instead of shown, and it's a 2.5 hour, a little over 2.5 hour movie, and I don't think that they had the excuse to not show you why certain things were happening. Second thing I didn't like. There were more than a couple of instances of when DiCaprio is dying or freezing to death or whatever the circumstance, is that he has these kind of dreams and visions that are very Terrence Malick-like, and I can't stand the director Terrence Malick. If you get a moment, look him up. His movies are terrible. And I got a little annoyed with it. It was a little... I rolled my eyes a little bit with it, because these things, again, a little over 2.5 hours, I didn't need it. The movie didn't need it. You understood what he was going through by just going through it with him. The third thing I didn't like was they had, once again, over 2.5 hour movie, they had this side plot, with the Native Americans following their bit, and it just didn't add anything to the story. It didn't change their character at all. It didn't add anything. They were just out looking for one of the chief's daughters, but it doesn't change the motivations of anybody in the story. Again, motivations. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't add anything. It just adds time. And the movie was long enough without having that stuff. Take that stuff out and give me more motivations as the main characters. Okay, so, hang on. This drink, much better than it ever should have been. And the magic of television. Oh, look at that. I just reached down and it's there. How is that possible? Who knows? Alright, so, final thoughts. I liked it. It's an astounding visual film. I mean, the landscapes, the special effects. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of special effects in the movie which you seldom know where they are or can see them, or just go, there's no other way they could have done that besides having a grizzly bear attack Leonardo DiCaprio, and they just got a lot of insurance money or something. A lot of special effects, but you can't see them, and I think that's amazing. Some other director should take note. It is a brutal movie. DiCaprio's performance is great. Tom Hardy's great. There were story problems, kind of a weak story, and there were motivation problems. Other than that, though, I liked it. I thought it was very good. I will give it 4 drinks out of 5. I mean, it's a really, visual movie, and that's what, movies should be. They should be visual. They should tell a story that way. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Click subscribe if you like this. There'll be plenty more to come. Alright, so here's the question of the day. What's your favorite survival movie? This is really good. Castaway is great. Surviving the Game. How about that? Iced tea. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thanks, everybody. Have a drink on me. Good night.